Hey gang, hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be taking a look at Oraxia, the newest Warframe, with the Isleweaver update. So Oraxia is the spider Warframe that's come out, and she is quite good. Every Warframe content creator is calling her broken, and in the YouTube clickbait sense, they are correct. She's quite strong. Broken, no. I think she's pretty well balanced. Warframe and DE have been doing an incredible job with their Warframe design and balance and reworks, and Araxia just fits right into the picture perfectly. Really solid kit we're going to look into, but before we do that, I just want to quickly go over how to acquire her, and then we'll get to the abilities, build, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more content like this. Drop a like, leave a comment, whatever you want. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Let's get into it. Acquisition has two main components here. We are in our orbiter heading to navigation. Do note you need to have the Hex quest done, which is like the most late game main story quest, along with the Duviri Paradox. This will unlock this little tab here, which we're going to click on. This has the circuit content, the Duviri experience, lone story. But we now have Isleweaver here, which is a new node, along with Operation 8 Claw, which is available for a limited time. This is how you get a bunch of Pathos clamps. This is how you get the limited time currency to get the ARCANES, all that stuff. I strongly suggest, if you are not a super late game player, and even if you are, quite frankly, to play this operation. The rewards are like actually really insane. D has spoiled us quite a bit. So yeah, you're just gonna click this. It'll be some Duviri content. You'll do a little bit of Undercroft stuff. You'll do essentially circuit content, basically, along with two mini boss fights, one with Oraxia, and then I guess the final boss fight with the fragmented one and all that good stuff. So that's the main part. You're gonna do that content, and then here you'll see a little button here. This is not the only way to access it, but you're going to go to the Dorma Zone. You're gonna talk to Dominus Thrax, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so we're heading to the Dorma Zone here. You just pop in, take a left, and here he is in his little cart corner. This returned Dominus Aureus. This is the event stuff. We're not really super concerned about this, but you should be farming this if you're watching this while the event's out. What we're looking for is Exchange Scuttler Husks. This is how you acquire her blueprint, chassis blueprint, neuroptics blueprint, along with her weapons and a couple of other scene stuff. Don't know too much about her weapons yet, haven't quite farmed those, but the Warframe is here. It'll cost you 60 Scuttler Husks for her blueprint and 20 per component. Keep that in mind. I'm now going to put a couple of drop tables on the screen for you so you can kind of understand what your odds are like. But the main strategy here for content like this is always going to be run as much as you can, try to get some good RNG to get either her blueprint ideally, or one of her part blueprints is generally going to be more likely. This makes it so that you get to spend your Scuttler Husks on the other parts and you get lucky. Essentially, you're inadvertently getting more Scuttler Husks by getting the blueprint ahead of time without having to spend the currency. This is the main way you're going to farm these quote-unquote like content islands that new Warframes generally come out with. Please stop talking. Come on, man. I'm trying to... Anyways, that's basically how you're going to farm it. So something worth noting that some people have discussed is the Steel Path version worth doing? I would say yes. The damage attenuation sucks. I personally farmed her doing a mix of both to try to, understand. There's just RNG involved. Damage attenuation sucks. You do get more Scuttler Husks through the Steel Path version, and the timing doesn't seem the most different to me, but I don't have quite a large sample size yet. Actually, the Oraxia farm is quite good relative to a lot of these content islands that DE puts out. So I was able to farm her relatively quickly, which I really enjoyed. And that's not even like an RNG thing. That's just, I had to buy all of her parts raw dog style. I enjoyed it. I was able to get her quickly and play her quickly, and I had fun. So whether or not the Steel Path version is worth it, I would lean towards yes. I've heard some trusted content creators say yes, but I've also seen posts on Reddit, really reliable sources I'm choosing from, that the Steel Path version damage animation is just boring and sucks. I agree, but the extra resources could be worth it if the margin of error isn't too large. Just keep that in mind. Okay, let's get to abilities. Here we are in the Sanctum Simulacrum here, and I'm going to go over all of her abilities. So Oraxia's passive basically gives her invisibility for 8 seconds when wall latching. Not just when wall latching, when you wall latch. Meaning I can like tap the wall here real quick. And in the upper right hand, you can see I'm getting Arcane Crepuscular, but I'm also getting that 8 seconds of invis. This alone is pretty good. Wouldn't have minded it lasting a little longer, or like it persisting as long as I'm wall latched. But overall, this ability is super good. When a Warframe gets invisibility, they kind of get like the fast pass to being at least decent, because it means they can stay alive. Loki is kind of the premier example of that. That frame will be decent for all of time because he can so easily and conveniently turn invis and be really fast. But yeah, this passive is incredibly good, but it's needs to work in tandem with the rest of her kit, which we'll get into in a second here. Oraxia's first ability is called Mercy's Kiss. Oraxia will leap towards a target, going invulnerable and attacking them. Pretty basic, but it's got some more to it that's really important. Note that the range of this ability is quite long, so you can actually use it if you've got targets. You can... Oh goodness, I actually just killed that dude. You can actually use it as a mobility tool, which is really nice. She also makes like a horrifying shriek sound some of the time. So the gimmick of this ability is that it gives Oraxia an execution threshold for the ability. When you've got this little mark above you, it means it can be executed. It's a 50% flat threshold, along with mercy kills. So we'll go into that in a second, but basically you kill the target and it drops a bunch of health orbs and half as much energy orbs. This scales with power strength to the point where basically you kill a target with this and you're able to fully replenish your energy bar, especially if you have a very strong build, lower energy pool, nourish maybe if you decide to take that route. Pretty good. So here basically it'll one-shot the target because they've got that little mark over their head. Same with this butcher here. Boom, just like that. Note that the targeting does favor marked enemies, so basically it's not gonna whiff, is what I'm saying. You'll usually hit your intended target, which is always gonna be the marked one. So quick little discussion here, because this is the part that the ability doesn't really describe, so I'm gonna try to describe it to you as best as I can. So you have the basic mark, which is like this, right? And that gives you your energy back, and that's all well and good. Likewise, Mercy's Kiss, hence the name, performs a mercy kill effectively. It's coded that way, which is mercy kills are what your Warframe does with their Parazon to finish off high priority enemies. Bombards, heavy gunners, a lot of the support units, the support murmur units are super annoying, and Eximus, they all have a mercy kill threshold, which is indicated by this little yellow fella right there. If you aren't aware, impact procs, the status impact, will increase that threshold, meaning that this enemy that we really have no business killing, we instantly applied 5 impact stacks to him, and we performed that Mercy's Kiss. Likewise, when you kill an enemy this way, it will proc your Parazon mods. So taking a look at that, the one that I have, and a lot of people have discussed, is going to be Out of Sight. Blinds enemies within 80 meters on Mercy Kill. That's like a radio blind for free that you just got while refilling your energy bar. Hard reset could also be good. That's actually quite good now that I think about it. Blood for life, 100% chance to drop a health orb. So more health orbs if you decide you want that. I think hit and run actually is probably the one I would take for a full setup. But yeah, that's really, really strong. This ability is nuts. Again, to sum it up, you go invulnerable, dash towards a target. If they're below 50% health or within Parazon execution point, they're going to die. They get the mark no matter which method you use, by the way. As you can see, I've got hit and run now, so I've got increased parkour velocity. That's actually really nice. I love finding new things while I'm making the video. A little bit corny, but that's fine. This ability is really strong. I think a lot of people slept on it. They assumed it was just going to be like a Varuna or Citrine type ability that just generates orbs that could be discarded for a different form of energy economy. But this ability is like the real deal, and it's very strong due to its Parazon synergy. I suggest you learn how to do that. Impact procs as well, although there is another ability that we're going to get into that actually does the impact work for you. But I'm just letting you know that's how impact works because I like to educate. And impact is a status that I think is very, 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 very slept on, actually. But yeah, this ability can be used just as straight movement or lethality, but this ability primarily is going to be your energy economy, like so. So yeah, let's move on to ability 2. Okay, before we get on to ability 2, do also note that there are a variety of mods in the game, both for Warframes and Companions, and I think even maybe for weapons as well, that do interact with orbs. Oraxia is one of the most consistent orb generators in the game, meaning using something like health conversion or energy conversion could be worth it. Here's the build. Also, I guess if you want that, but I'll get into it later. Health conversion, I would say, is not worth using on her. No reason to armor stack, because she goes invis. Energy conversion can be quite good, especially if you like the active playstyle. You will be generating a ton of orbs, so that could definitely be worth using along with the companion mod set. But I believe that gives your companion armor or something like that, so that can be quite good as well. Okay, now moving on to the second ability. Moving on to Oraxia's 2, Webbed Embrace. Oraxia is going to throw this little web bomb that will deal some toxin damage. Toxin proc for sure. We get the corrosive proc due to Archon continuity. And these enemies are rooted in place and are more vulnerable to damage, which is pretty good. This gun is not really meant to damage. And yeah, damage vulnerability is like fine. The base value is kind of whatever. It's not bad. The main thing is that these enemies cannot attack you. The unfortunate case being that if they have Overguard, they cannot be affected by this ability. Likewise, the CC and the damage vulnerability, they don't stack. So you can have 3 of these out at once, but you can only have 1 applied per enemy. However, you can see the distance on this thing is, the range is very competent, meaning I can throw 1, 2, 3, like so. And this whole map is kind of covered, really. And in addition to that, what is it? Like, this isn't even with an overextended build, which would have insane area control. It also is able to kind of grab weirdly on altitude. It works, but it's not super consistent, so I would try to be pretty wise about how you throw them. But I kind of want to show you the strength of this ability real quick, so I'm gonna throw 3 out of the way here. That way, these enemies get freed up. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to now turn AI off, or turn AI back on so that they can shoot me. But as you can see, they get rooted. And even though their AI is on, they would normally be able to shoot me and kill me, but they are completely useless and lined up to die. Use Mercy's Kiss to replenish my energy, so on and so forth. So yeah, this ability is like super competent. Likewise, this is gonna be Oraxia's helmet ability that you give to other Warframes. It does have a range nerf, unfortunately. But still really good. Likewise, if you were to remove an ability from Oraxia, I think this would be the one, unfortunately. But I think that, like, the theme of sitting up and throwing little web bombs down and rooting targets is like a really fun one. And it's definitely a good ability. I would say there's no need to remove it. But if you were to, this would be the one you'd probably take off. Oraxia's third ability is called Widow's Brood. So Oraxia is going to send out these little pin needles that home in on enemies, hits them with poison, and when they die, they spawn a little scuttler. Now these scuttlers spawn based on the level of the mission, and they will proc impact and poison, and they'll keep whacking the shit out of enemies, and it's great. Notice that one scuttler killing a target will kill another marked enemy, meaning that we're just getting more and more scuttlers. I'll Mercy's Kiss that guy for fun. And yeah, you can have up to 10 scuttlers. These scuttlers, again, they deal toxin damage and toxic proc as well. Same with impact. Notice, let's come full circle here. Remember that impact allows us to more easily execute priority targets. So these scuttlers proccing impact for us means we don't have to build, we don't really have to bring an impact weapon. As you can see, this bombard's fallen. I haven't like shot him with a gun at all. He's just dead. Mercy's Kiss keeps us at full energy. This ability is like insanely good. You just kind of have to remember to use it. And yeah, it's more basic. It's a summoning ability, so things like Kamisada work. It doesn't seem like you can use like Nourish to buff them. They seem very selective with what buffs they'll take. But as you can see, you send a whole lot of needles out, and this ability very much works on its own. It's insanely strong. Summoner's Wrath, I believe, also works on it. And yeah, this ability it does what's advertised. It's insanely strong. Not much else to say, really. Oraxia's ultimate is Silken Stride, and it does a whole lot, so you might have to give me a second. Basically, you're going to deploy these little spider legs, kind of creepy, make a creepy sound. You're going to gain a ton of health. This is based on your health that you currently have. It's a health multiplier, which is very good. A little confusing because she turns invis, but the health does keep you protected in case something weird happens. I don't really know. But basically, you tap shift, you're able to Amazing Spider-Man your ass to whatever wall you want. This is incredibly good. You get that poison infusion. That poison infusion doubles when you're wall latched, which is incredibly good. It's very easy to wall latch by pressing shift. Likewise, enemies killed while you're in this ability will explode with poison, which is pretty solid. I mean, it's not the best, but you're just getting more damage. And when you're killing a lot of enemies, and that means you're getting a bunch of those explosions, like, it adds up to pretty decent. It is toxin damage, which means if you're against Corpus, you're actually going to get like a pretty good, you're gonna get pretty good mileage out of this ability. So you get the legs, you get the status immunity, you get the Amazing Spider-Man movement, which is incredibly fun, and you get this insane additional hit of toxin through the infused magazine. Likewise, this ability does allow you to cast Mercy's Kiss by pressing your melee button. Does it mean that your melee button, you can't melee? That is correct, you cannot melee. But it casts Mercy's Kiss for you, which just gives you more mobility, and that's really fun. So yeah, this ability is like one of my favorite in the game nowadays. It is so fun. The mobility is so enjoyable, and it creates such an active playstyle because, you know, Predator's Lurk doesn't stay on as long as you're wall latched. You have to continue to wall latch, so you end up moving around like this, and all I'm doing is tap and shift. Like, look at this. This is Warframe. What, like, you tell another player this is Warframe like 10 years ago, dude, they'll have a fucking heart attack. Like, yeah, it's insane. Quick little note about this ability as well is it does take up the what I call the roar slot, and what that means is you cannot put this ability and roar on the same frame. So you can't put roar on Oraxia without removing her ultimate, and you don't want to do that. So you know, a better helmet option would be like Nourish, Breach Surge, the usual suspects. But yeah, this ability is super good. So you're getting like triple your health, you're getting this insane infusion, this insane mobility, status immunity, more AoE damage. It's so fun. So we're gonna get on to, hopefully that explained it adeptly. I feel like it did, but anyway, we're gonna move on to builds, arcanes, all that good stuff. And thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for your patience. Alright, so just a quick disclaimer before we head in here. I know that Oraxia and the SOBEK are broken. Acid Shells plus a weapon infusion breaks the game. Zada's Whisper, whatever, so on and so forth. You cannot equip Zada's Whisper with Oraxia without removing her ultimate, so keep that in mind when you're doing Helminth. But yeah, Oraxia plus the SOBEK is broken, and I won't be covering it because other Warframe YouTubers already have. But likewise, because I do believe it leads to like a pretty unfair assessment of Oraxia's strength. I think it moves her up like a whole tier if you were to do a tier list, so I won't be including that kind of gameplay here for you today, but know that it's very strong, and if you're someone who's obsessed with meta and using the strongest thing at any given time, Oraxia plus the SOBEK is probably the best choice you can go for. Starting with mods, we have in our Aura slot, Growing Power. Another great choice is going to be Summoner's Wrath. This would give more damage to your Scuttlers. Pretty good, pretty good. And that's for your whole squad too, which could help, but it's unlikely. Growing Power here is in my choice because I just want the power strength, and because of my infusion, like, I'll always be proccing it, and it'll always stay up. Base stats here, energy is the main one we have a mod for. That's Primed Flow. Primed Flow is not necessary here at all, but it makes the gameplay a lot more comfortable for me. If not, you will want to go with Equilibrium. You either want Equilibrium or an Equilibrium Shard on your on this Warframe. Oraxia really likes it because of Mercy's Kiss. So, moving on, we have Duration, Efficiency, Range, Strength. Duration, 128 is like perfect. The base Duration, which the two abilities we're concerned for here are Webbed Embrace and Widow's Brood. With 128 Duration, we get 57 seconds on Scuttlers and 32 seconds on Webbed Embrace. We're gonna be just fine. Like, it's if you want more, you can, especially if maybe you're using like Nourish or Helmet ability. But Oraxia's base numbers are strong enough in the Duration area that it's not really a big deal. Efficiency, you should be running Blind Rage on Oraxia. It's just too valuable. Her energy, her energy econ is just too good. If you play Oraxia properly with Mercy's Kiss, you will be just fine. There's some content with less enemies maybe where she could struggle, but I just run Blind Rage. Efficiency 45. This is a Blind Rage frame. Range is her most mobile stat. You can make it go a lot higher depending on what helmet you use, or if you want to play the more like defense method where you're using webbed embrace everywhere, this ability gets massive, as you saw. So imagine like a full range build would be kind of crazy. But totally up to you. I think 175 is best because I don't want to take the tank to my strength using overextended. But I would say at least have stretch here. 145% is what you want. Strength is, we want it to be as high as possible, which is not uncommon these days. But yeah, just for Silken Stride, for the damage vulnerability on Weapon Embrace, and for the Orb Chance on Mercy's Kiss, you want this stat to get high. Couple notes here is that Precision Intensify is optional. You can run the Umbral one instead if you want to allocate more power to these other abilities. But I personally believe a lot of her power budget is in Silken Stride, so that's why I went with the Precision Intensify here. Likewise, Archon Continuity, abilities that inflict a toxin status effect, will also apply a corrosive status effect. This is really strong. Every single one of her abilities applies a toxin status effect, so we're going to be shredding armor away. Armor counters toxin, so if we're able to shred that away, it's going to be really strong. Arcanes. Kamisara and Arachne I use on like no other Warframes that I play personally, so I like to have it here, not only because they're strong, but because they're unique, and it gives them some mileage. It gives me a reason to own them, really. A couple choices. The standard augmented is very good. Bellicose. This one's interesting. You'd think it'd be a must-take because of the ultimate 5xing your health, but the problem is that it's the ultimate that gives the health, meaning you can't use the ultimate for the health. Or you're not going to be able to use the health to buff your ultimate, because the ultimate is what gives you the health in the first place on cast. However, you are still buffing 3 other abilities, so don't sleep on Bellicose just because it technically doesn't work with the ultimate. That is true, but it still has a place. Likewise, Crepuscular, due to being invis all the time, if you're using a crit weapon, you're going to want Crepuscular. That's a really good buff, and it gives you that 30% additional power strength as well. So yeah, Augmented, Crepuscular, Bellicose. There's a few other options as well, but those are the main ones that I would be concerned for. Alright, that's about it. So, okay. Archon Shards, these 2 strength ones are not the most relevant. Corrosive Shards are pretty important. It allows you to full strip armored enemies, which means your Toxin is able to do the most possible. You shred the armor really quick because, again, all your abilities, your Scuttlers on hit, all that stuff are going to be proccing Corrosive due to Archon Continuity. Archon Continuity is the single most important component of Oraxia. If you can get your hands on that mod, you get it through call missions. Those suck, but you should be doing them anyway if you need those mods. Equilibrium, very important. Either run the mod, or in this case, I'm using a Tau Forged Violet Archon Shard to achieve the effect so that Mercy's Kiss can replenish so much of my energy, just an unreasonable amount. In terms of weapons, she is a weapons platform at the end of the day. I'm going to be using the Toncore here, but whatever weapon you want, go ahead and use it. Again, the SOBEK is her best weapon, I believe, in slot. There is no competition, it's not even close. But I would say AoE weapons are generally going to be best because she already has some explosions on her ult. But the case could be made that, you know, the explosions allow single target weapons to be used. So yeah, whatever weapon you're comfortable with and want to have fun with, in this case I'll be using the Toncore. Focus Schools, Madurai I believe is the best. You don't need the energy econ from Zenerik. Naramon, I can't think of anything you would need. Vazarin, you don't need the invulnerability or the grouping really all that much. Unairu, not much is offered there. You're already status immune in your ultimate. Madurai is the best choice for the chained sling into sling strength. This gives you 40% ability strength, and lets you snapshot for your ultimate. I guess I should mention this. Another actually great choice, if you're going to be using that Madurai combo, is a very slept on arcane called Molt of Vigor. This gives 45% ability strength on the next Warframe ability cast when you use your Operator ability, which means you can snapshot a whole bunch of strength into Silken Stride if that's your goal. So that's everything. I guess Companion, Nautilus Prime here, just basic priming stuff. Cordon, I believe, is very good. Do keep in mind with anything close range, your Companion might not be able to do as much as it wants to do because you're going to be wall latching high up above enemies. Just keep that in mind. That's really the only thing. We're going to move on to the gameplay now. Hope you guys are enjoying the video. Thank you so much for watching. Alrighty, and for our demonstration, we're going to be going to the usual function, a conjunction survival. Pop open a nice little relic here, and we'll get to it. So, Oraxia's gameplay is one of the most fun, I think. I'm really glad, just a few notes here. I'm glad her base kit rocks. I feel no pressure to put a helmet on, and that makes me so happy. So what we're gonna do first is these Drock Masters always spawn at the start of a conjunction survival, and we're gonna try to Ooh, am I? Come on now. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, Mercy's Kiss does good damage, and then also we're just trying to get our energy into a decent spot so that way we can play the game properly. Alright. So we're gonna sling for sling strength there. Find an enemy to proc growing power off of, like that. And then we're just gonna like that. And now we have some Mercy's Kiss enemies. And now we're gonna tap shift to cling to a wall. So like, notice you do get hit sometimes. Like, you're only invis for 8 seconds at a time. So like, you'll get tagged occasionally. So while you could make the case that the bonus health isn't like that good, I mean, I'm not gonna complain about it, right? So you're looking for a room kind of like this. Remember, you get three webbed embraces, so you'll want to try to play around those. What's a good spot? One problem with high ground with Oraxia is that, like, Mercy's Kiss that guy, try to get some energy back there. My beef with this character sometimes is that, like, you end up on the top of door frames sometimes, which means you can't shoot down properly, which is pretty annoying. Alright, let's see here. So yeah, what you're basically going to be looking for is, like, I got the ability range and ability strength doubled, oh boy. What you're going to kind of be looking for, look at that. Tell me that's not, like, super good. Whatever, anyways. What you're going to kind of be looking for is, like, a room like this. So you could throw webbed embraces on either side, and then just farm enemies. It's pretty good. One of the only problems, and this is probably a case I would make with the max range build, as fun as it sounds, is that enemies will get caught on, like, the ends of your webbed embrace and kind of group up that way. There we go. Just in the sound that Mercy's Kiss makes, oh my goodness. They'll kind of get grouped up at the ends of your webbed embrace, which leads to you having to go find them, which isn't, like, awful. Obviously, you could tell this is a pretty active play style, but we don't want to have to go too far, right? That's kind of unnecessary. To see if I'm just hopping around with my shift here while I'm in my ult, and what I'm kind of fishing for now, this ability, your ultimate, it consumes energy, like, really consistently. I mean, it's 5-6 on my build, it's 6 a second. So with primed flow, it's a little bit more comfortable. But do keep in mind that you're gonna kind of want to keep looking in the crowd and try to find a Mercy's Kiss victim. Like, you're kind of, like, the mark is very obvious, fortunately. They did a really good job with that. But you're gonna want to keep trying to find enemies that you can hit it with, and like, the targeting, it has, like, soft targeting towards enemies that possess the mark, so you'll be all good there. And as you can see, we are just not struggling, and this is going to be the case for any Warframe with Invis. Staying alive will never be the issue, which is why we use survival to determine strength sometimes, because it allows us to display multiple things, like kills per second, which, yeah, like, Loki could theoretically survive forever, right? But his ability to kill is what's really prevalent. So all we do, throw the 3 out. You can see I'm actively, constantly swinging around, trying to find a place for myself. I'm using the Tonkor here because I can never knock myself over, which is really nice. I'm not a believer in primed sure-footed, despite it being very comfortable. For a playstyle like this, I just don't want to use it. Oh, found an enemy. So one thing to note about Mercy's Kiss that is really nice is that even if the target dies, the game seems to still register the enemy as, like, killed by Mercy's Kiss, so it'll still give you your energy orbs, which is really nice. I gotta say, man, the more I play this frame, I like, this is just so fun to me. I don't know. I'm not really used to having this active. Like, every move I make feels so good. The main, God, I guess this is really it. So yeah, you'll just use Weapon Embrace to play Bloons tower defense a little bit. Actively moving around, trying to stay invis as much as you can. Actively be searching for targets you can hit with. I will say Mercy's Kiss is the way that it's designed I hope they do more of it like this, because really assassination isn't really a thing in Warframe for the most part. Ooh, we got a what do you call it, acolyte spawning. So let's get the webbed embraces out here. Maybe try to get some scuttlers if we can. Like, assassination isn't really as much of a thing because this is such a looter shooter, horde shooter, you know, type deal, right? So like Mercy's Kiss having that execution threshold and rewarding you for it, like, God, it is just a good feeling ability, man. And there we go. That's 5 minutes. Not too hard. And we got, oh, Valkyrie Prime Blueprint. Definitely don't need that, but that's okay. We'll start making our way out of here. I hope you guys understand. I mean, again, when you're there's not much to describe when you're playing an invis frame. But yeah, your gun gets buffed by your ultimate. You're making little scuttlers. The main thing is keeping an active energy economy, but that's not particularly difficult if you really know what you're doing and you get used to how this ability flows around. So we're just gonna get on out of here, and I want to show you guys how fun this ability. Like, look at this. And remember, you can bullet jump while in your shift or in your ultimate. It's not that restrictive. You just kind of have to get good at it, and I'm not that great at it yet. Like, look at this. Look at this. Like, tell me that's not sick. Like, again, you show a Warframe player this, like, from 10 years ago, before they had bullet jumping, and they will have a stroke. I'm telling you, it's so fun. We're going to get to the conclusory bit at the end here, but hopefully that demonstration shows you guys kind of how this frame is played. It's a lot more simple than a lot of other frames, so sorry that it's not the most descriptive. You just jump around walls, stay invisible. Weapons platforms are unfortunately, like, insanely boring to cover when it comes to the demonstrations, but hopefully you guys understand the gameplay loop and how to succeed on this Warframe now. Alright, geeking it a book. Oraxia is unironically one of the most fun Warframes I've played, and it might be recency bias, and it might just be because she's new, but this gameplay, this active gameplay, like, it feels like an assassin while also fitting. Like, you play this little assassin's minigame with Mercy's Kiss. Otherwise, you're playing like Bloons Power Tower Defense with Webbed Embrace and Widow's Brood and clinging with Silken Stride and staying invisible and actively moving around. You feel like an actual, like, force of nature. Oraxia is like one of the best Warframes designed by DE, and it's just not even close to me. And I don't even like spiders. I don't even care for the spider aesthetic so much. But like, the way that you play the game is so fun. And you know, I have some thoughts about content islands and, like, well, this is just, once you're done with the Oraxia content, you're done till the next Warframe update. And I get that, and that's frustrating. But at least Oraxia came out of it, because oh my god, this Warframe is so fun. She's an easy farm, incredibly strong. The only downside is that she's only available very late game, and that she is a weapons platform. And God, she's the most fun weapons platform besides my goat Harrow. He's my favorite. But dude, this Warframe is so fun. You gotta get it if you can. It's a quick farm. You get a bunch of other stuff. The event is right now, Operation 8 God, please play this Warframe. Like, it's such a complete kit. It's such a fun experience. And once you get used to it, and again, if you don't like the movement, that's actually totally fine. I get it. But for me, this is as someone who wants Warframe to be a more active mechanical experience. For me, not for everyone, but just for me, I want that choice to be mine and to be makeable. Man, please play this frame. She's so fun. But that's really it. If you have any questions, any concerns, anything that I got wrong or that I got especially right, please leave it in the comments. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys' support so endlessly. And next video will probably be a Valkyrie guide. I'm also planning on doing an entire modding guide, like a beginner player focused experience, which I know isn't the most popular because a lot of people who consume Warframe content are like above MR 15, or I've seen the stats, but I do think it'd be really helpful to have, even if the viewership on it is low. I think Warframe is doing really well right now. I think the balance is like at its peak, and I just want people to have a new player experience that's good. I think modding is something people really struggle with, so that's where I would start. If that interests you, please let me know. And thank you guys so much for the support. Take care. Much love. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.